kitties.
Any of the kitties?
Even though we're a long way away from
Yeah,
that.
That's not
as it is, I don't want anybody disturbing it.
It's a, different set.
I don't think so, no.
Yeah.
Okay, it is 7 o'clock, July 11th, 2019. I'd like to call the meeting to order and to begin with the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I have a motion to accept the agenda as amended?
So moved.
Made by John Merlin, seconded by
Second.
Ralph Fidelli. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do we have any public comment on agenda items only? Bob, if we can, we're going to hold your committee report or department report until later. I'd like to get Warren out of here. He's had some issues today and would like to...
Minor issues, nothing.
would like to leave as early as possible. So
Okay.
I think we'll proceed with that.
Okay.
And the first item on the agenda is the resolution awarding the bid for construction of the storage shed and authorization for the supervisor to sign the contract. We had a bid opening for the construction held on Tuesday, or Monday rather, and there were 2 bids submitted. Ray, you want to
Absolutely.
speak to those?
Absolutely. So as the supervisor had indicated, although there was actually quite an extensive amount of effort that was made to try to get additional bidders, there were actually 11 contractors that had picked up bid sets. So they obviously were folks that were interested, but at the end of the day, unfortunately, only 2 had bid. In speaking to a few of the contractors after the fact that had not bid, it's quite honestly because of their existing workload. They were concerned about not being able to complete the project before the end of the construction season and meeting the contract requirements. So I know for at least 3 of the contractors that was the case. That being said, so 2 bids were received by the town. They were opened on Monday and read and recorded. The apparent low bid was one-way construction out of West Hurley in the amount of $429,219. And the second bid that was received was on Seagrass and Sons Construction out of Poughkeepsie in the amount of $475,416. That construction includes both the general construction, the concrete work, the framing of the building, overhead doors, man doors, as well as the electric into the building as well. So again, we were under the cap of $500,000, allowing us to not go out for separate primes and putting it all under one prime. So that's the direction that we have gone. So the request is at this point, I've reviewed the bids, contacted One Way Construction as well, received some additional information from them as far as their existing workload, received correspondence from them indicating that they are ready to fulfill the contractual requirements and feel comfortable that they can meet the deadlines set forth within the contract as well. They are able to start the work once the paperwork is completed somewhat immediately. They anticipate that, again, if the bid is awarded this evening, then we'll get the information back to them as far as a copy of that resolution. They'll immediately send it out to their bonding company for the performance bond and so forth. Usually it's the performance bond, the labor material bonds are the items that take the longest. So one would hope that we could actually sign contracts within 2 to 3 weeks and they could potentially get started in the August timeframe.
Ray, you mentioned that, or you said that you had had experience with them in Taconic and Kinderhook and so on. Can you describe your your experience in working with them?
Yeah, absolutely. So favorable, very favorable. They do very good work. It tends to be actually a very small crew, quite honestly, but they're dedicated. They're there every day. They concentrate on the work. They get the work product done. And they're also willing to work with the municipalities. Again, if they see something on the plans, quite honestly, that they feel potentially could save money, they'll bring it to my attention and for consideration. So if those do come up during the construction period, we'll bring those to the board as well, whether the board wants to consider those as potential cost savings. So that's an example. We've had very, very favorable projects with them, not only from a design standpoint and implementing and overseeing the construction, but even the clients themselves, as far as the municipalities. On more than one occasion, we've had the municipalities actually been very impressed that for what one would consider a relatively small crew, how much production they can get completed. You know, they don't play around, they stick to the work and they get the work product done.
Any other questions? I might just say that those bids are good for 45 days. So we need to get going on this. With that, I guess, Lisa, do you want to read the resolution?
Resolution accepting the bid of One Way Construction Services, Inc. for the Phase 1 of the Town of Northeast Highway Department Storage Building Project. Whereas the Town Board prepared an invitation to bid dated June 7, 2019 for the project known as Phase 1 of the Town of Northeast Highway Department Facility Storage Building Project, contract number 19-007, and whereas the Town Board received 2 bids for said project. One from One Way Construction of West Hurley, New York, in the amount of $429,219, and the other from Seacrest and Son Construction of Poughkeepsie, New York, in the amount of $475,416. Whereas the bids were open and reviewed in accordance with the invitation to bid documents, and whereas the Town Board has determined, with the advice and counsel of its consulting engineer, CBL Architecture Engineering Planning, that the bid of One Way Construction represents the lowest responsible bidder for this project. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board hereby accept the bid of One Way Construction in the amount of $429,219 for said Highway Department Storage Building Project, and be it further resolved that the town hereby authorizes the town supervisor to execute a contract for said construction in accordance with the bid documents, subject, however, to passage of a bond resolution dated July 11, 2019, without challenge and without the filing of a lawful petition of referendum. And then we'll just need a motion, and we'll do a roll call.
Can I have a motion to proceed with the referendum?
And to accept the bid of One Way.
To accept the bid of One Way Construction, which this resolution covers. Okay, motion made by John Merwin, seconded by Chris Kennan. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
George?
Yes.
John?
Aye.
Ralph?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
John?
Very good. Next on the agenda is the bond resolution dated July 11, 2019, authorizing, subject to permissive referendum, the construction of Phase 1 of the Town of Northeast Highway Garage Storage Facility with fuel depot on town-owned parcel on Route 22. And Warren, you want to lead us through this?
Sure. I thought because of the nature of the size of the entire project, I had our bond counsel, Douglas Goodfriend of Warwick, guide us through the bond resolution, and he would probably assist us at other points. So he prepared the bond resolution. I've made some tweaks to it. Did you get the, okay. And we're just going to make one tweak in it tonight. In Section 3, the period of probable usefulness, Mr. Goodfriend had it 30 years, but after consulting with Ray, based on the type of construction for the Phase 1 project, it's a 15-year. So that has to be changed to 15 years. It doesn't change in any way what we're going to be doing in terms of bonding this, but we're probably going to go with a bond anticipation note, eventually roll it over. If you have any questions about the bond resolution, it's all in proper form, and then it has to be published. If you have any, we have instructions from a good friend. I've made a couple of tweaks to that. If you have any questions, just let me know. And at some point, I'll need an affidavit of publication when we get ready to close on the ban. So I think you're ready to have a motion to accept the bond resolution.
Can you just explain for the audience, anyway, I don't know, maybe everyone doesn't understand, but the difference between a bond and a ban?
Yeah, when you do a bond resolution of this sort, you usually authorize what we call bond anticipation notes, BANs. And that means instead of going to full financing for 15 years or 10 years, wherever the long-term bond, when you're doing the project in phases such as this, usually just get a bond anticipation note, and that's done, you can do a maximum of 5 years, and you have to do a renewal closing each year with the bank, and the interest rates may fluctuate. You don't get fixed into a fixed interest rate. That's the only downside. But so there would be, in this case, we would probably do a band anticipation note maybe for 1 or 2 years, and eventually roll this into a larger bond for the entire project. And that's just a normal way of proceeding. The interest rates, actually, for the band, I don't know, they're usually a little lower than the long term. Yeah, you'll find probably a little bit lower, but the problem is that they can fluctuate from year to year. It's the only difference. Clear as mud.
Since this project is being done in 3 phases, we anticipate utilizing a bond anticipation note so that after the first phase is completed, we work on the second phase. After that's completed, we work on the third phase. Those bands can then be rolled into a bond over a longer period.
Correct. But you can only do bands for 5 years. That's the maximum.
Yeah. Would you like to read the bond resolution?
It's a resolution authorizing, subject to permissive referendum, the construction of phase 1 of the Town Northeast Highway Garage Storage Facility with Fuel Depot on a town-owned parcel of land on Route 22 in Milledgeville, New York, and in and for the town of Northeast Dutchess County, New York, at the maximum estimated cost of $874,000, and authorizing the issuance of not exceeding $454,000 bonds of said town to pay a portion of the cost thereof. Whereas all conditions precedent to the financing of the capital project herein described, including compliance with the provisions of the State Environmental Quality Review Act, have been formed, and whereas the capital project herein after described has been determined to be unlisted action pursuant to the regulations of the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, the implementation of which, as proposed, the town board has determined it will not result in any significant adverse environmental effects. And whereas it is now desired to authorize the financing thereof, now therefore be it resolved by the town board of the town of Northeast Dutchess County, New York as follows. Section 1, the construction of phase 1 of the highway garage storage facility with fuel storage on a town-owned parcel of land on Route 22 in Milledgeville, New York, in and for the town of Northeast, including original furnishings, equipment, machinery, apparatus, site improvements, and other incidental improvements and expenses in connection therewith is hereby authorized at a maximum estimated cost of $874,000. The plan for the financing of the aforesaid maximum estimated cost is as follows. A, by the issuance of not exceeding $454,000 serial bonds of said town, hereby authorized to be issued therefore pursuant to the provisions of the local finance law, and B, by the expenditure of not exceeding $220,000 current available fund monies hereby appropriated therefore, and C, by the expenditure of $200,000 grant and aid monies hereby appropriated therefore. Section 3, it is hereby determined that the periods of probable usefulness of the aforesaid specific objects or purpose. And you said 15 years, Warren, on that? Pursuant to
Yeah.
subdivision 11A1 of paragraph of the section 11 of the local finance law. It is hereby further determined that the maximum maturity of the serial bonds herein authorized will exceed 5 years. 4, the faith and credit of the said town of Northeast are hereby irrevocable pledged for the payment of the principal of and interest of such bonds as the same respectively become due and payable. An annual appropriation shall be made in each year sufficient to pay the principal of and interest of such bonds becoming due and payable in each year. This shall annually be levied on all of the taxable real property in said town. A tax sufficient to pay the principal of and interest of such bonds as the same become due and payable. 5, subject to the provisions of the local finance law, the power to authorize the issuance of and sell bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance and sale of the bond herein authorized, including renewals of such notes, is hereby delegated to the supervisor of said town, the chief fiscal officer. Such notes shall be such terms, forms, and contents, and shall be sold in such manner as may be prescribed by said supervisor. 6, all other matters except as provided herein related to the bonds herein authorized, including the date, denominations, maturities, and interest payment dates within the limitations prescribed herein, and the manner of execution of the same, including the consolidation with other issues, and also the ability to issue bonds with substantially level or declining annual debt service shall be determined by the supervisor. Such bonds shall contain substantially the recital validity clause provided for in section 52 of the local finance law, and shall otherwise be in such form and contain such recital in addition to those required by section 51 of the local finance law. 7, the validity of such bonds and bond anticipation notes may be contested only if 1, such obligations are authorized for an object or purpose for which said town is not authorized to expend money, or 2, the provisions of law which should be complied with at the date of publication of this resolution are not substantially complied with, and an action, suit, or proceeding contesting such validity is commenced within 20 days after the date of such publication. Or 3, such obligations are authorized in violation of provisions of the Constitution. Section 8, the resolution shall constitute a statement of official intent for purposes of Treasury regulations other than as specified in this resolution. No monies are or reasonably expected to be reserved, allocated on a long-term basis, or otherwise set aside with respect to the permanent funding of the object or purpose described herein. Section 9, upon this resolution taking effect, the same shall be published in full or summary form in the official newspaper of said town for such purpose, together with the notice of the town clerk in substantial form provided in section 81 of the local finance law. And then in section 10, this resolution is adopted, subject to permissive referendum.
The only change I want to make is on section 3. He had subdivision A1. It may not be subdivision A1. It's of 11. So why don't we just make it subdivision 11 of paragraph A. Then we're okay. Need a roll call.
Can I have a motion to accept the resolution for the construction of phase 1 of the of bonding for phase 1 of the town of Northeast Highway Garage Storage Facility with Fuel Depot? Made by Chris Cannon, seconded by Ralph Fidelli.
George?
Yes.
John?
Aye.
Ralph?
Aye.
Chris?
Yes.
John?
Aye.
Before we go on, just clean up one thing here. I didn't ask for authorization for the, a motion for authorization for the supervisor to sign the contract. So can I have a motion?
It's in the resolution.
That was in the first resolution.
Yes, okay.
Yep.
It's in
Okay.
there.
guess we're set on that. Anything else?
I think you're all set. Did you need me to stay for anything else on the agenda?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
You're all set.
Okay, then I'm gonna go home.
Godspeed.
Good night, everybody.
We'll see.
Warren, is that your pen?
Oh, this is my very expensive pen. I forgot who I stole it from.
Next is an update on the,
Oh, back to committees?
You want to go back to committees?
okay, we can cover the committees before we get into that. Bob, you want to give us a report on the highway?
We are currently working at the new highway garage site. This coming Monday, we will start stripping the topsoil, and then we will move on to the rough grading of phase one, once the topsoil is stripped.
Have you found a place to put the topsoil?
We have a site off of Taylor Road, an old gravel bank that needs to be filled in. That should handle the
So
job.
we're getting rid of the topsoil.
It's totally up to the board. It needs to be removed from the site.
Right. Are we,
We have too much, there's no place to keep it on
Right.
site.
no,
So,
my point, are we giving it away, are we selling it, what are we doing with the topsoil? Are we
if you
dealing
know
with that
somebody
later?
wants to buy it, we'll gladly sell it, but at this point right now, our major objective is to get it
Right,
out
of
of
course,
the
I
way.
gotta get out of the way, right? They don't mind if you leave it there permanently?
No.
Okay.
They need to
All right, well, that answers the question.
resurrect the bank down there.
Yeah. Gonna fill it back in and make it cornfield again.
Yeah, okay. Sounds like a plan.
Any other questions? Okay,
Thank you.
and I see an old face in the
Well,
back there.
Son of a gun.
Strange face.
They put you back in the harness. Yes.
Well, I'm tardy because I couldn't get this to print out. We have a jam in the printer queue, so I went down to the clerk's, got a copy from there, but it didn't print out all the numbers. So after the whole thing, I'll be able to forward you a copy via
Okay.
email so that you can have it for it. But, so at least you know what I'm talking about now. I'll make sure that I get these out to you guys. 3, 6, I have 7 here, so if you pass them around, that would be great. So for the village, we had 20 incidents. For the town, we had 17. And we had 2 arrests in the town, 2 arrests in the village. So we split it right down the middle. And I see the one, actually, I don't think that burglary is this related. You got the update from Chief Feeder last week on the last month on the burglaries, right? All the arrests that were cleared in the town.
We did.
There were,
Yes.
Yes.
yeah, there were a good
It
number
was
of.
in the newspaper last week
Yeah.
also.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, so, yes, we have a couple new pending ones, but for all intents and purposes, we believe one is related to the same individual, but
Yes, he had sent me a separate email on the burglaries.
very good.
How do these compare with last year?
I honestly didn't look to last year's. I got in nice and early so I could do that, and I'm just even trying to print this out. And I'm an administrator on the computer, but long story short is I couldn't delete the job that was in the queue, so
Yeah.
more fun tonight.
You didn't get involved in any of the activities today, did
What activity? Oh, with the,
you? Yeah.
no, and you know he was caught and it was up not far from where he,
Yes.
where he,
In
left.
Pittsfield.
So much for eyewitness reports, right?
they know who the person was that looked an awful lot like him. Somebody said they looked on
Most people know
Facebook.
who he is.
And, yeah, so that caused some problems and I heard about it and I called up our clerk, asked her about it if she had heard any updates because I wanted to know before I came in. and she thankfully said that, well, it's not the person they saw on the rail trail a couple of times, that's a village resident, and all is good. So I was kind of like, "Phew, well, that's good." So anyway, yes, so we can let our guards down. He was caught up in Pittsfield, so all is good. Makes everybody happy, I'm sure. Yeah, he was not a person who I would have liked to come across, that's for sure.
I know at least one person's wife who was very happy that don't have to worry about that.
Yep. So, anyway,
Okay. Well, it's always a pleasure to see you.
good seeing you
Come
guys.
back.
I told you I'd be back from time to time,
Oh,
so
that's good.
anyway. Hopefully everybody's having a good summer. We're well into our summer season now. And
Yes, we are.
yep, so no questions, comments, concerns about anything with the police department?
Does the board have any?
Not that I'm aware of.
No, I think we're,
Awesome. If you do, we're just a phone
know
call or
where-
an email away, so
okay.
anyway.
All right,
Be well,
thanks.
everybody. Good seeing you.
We'll see you, Matt. You have the report from the assessor and from the planning board.
Of the assessor, asked that I read her report for the
Okay.
record.
Sure.
The assessor's report. Grievance Day, the Board of Assessment Review held the 2019 Grievance Day on Wednesday, May 29th. Appearing before the board were 4 property owners or their representatives. Additionally, there were 3 owners or their representatives that mailed in complaints for review, and 10 that settled with the assessor by stipulation before Grievance Day. These 17 property owners filed a total of 24 complaints. The board granted assessment reductions to 5 of the property owners and approved all stipulations. The board's determinations have been sent to all the complainants and filed with the town clerk. Final roll. The corrections to the assessment roll from the Board of Assessment Review determinations were made by the assessor's office, and the 2019 assessment roll was finalized and filed on July 1st. It is available to the public in the assessor's office and the town clerk's office and online with the link on the town's website. On May 29th, we received our 2019 final equalization rate of 100% based on our tentative roll. This indicates that the analysis done by the New York State Office of Real Property Tax Services verifies that our assessments are at 100% of market value.
The planning board report is on the table. Lisa, do you have anything?
Yes, at the end of June, myself, along with my deputy Holly, and with Julie Schroeder and Edie Greenwood, we met with Dennis Riley. He's the regional advisory officer from the New York State Archives Office. We toured our record area and discussed ideas to better store our inactive records. We also discussed putting a record management policy in place and adopting that policy. I'm currently working on that policy with Mr. Riley. We also discussed having a record day where all the offices in town hall would work on the records with guidance from myself. He said that our inactive storage area was not in bad shape and that we have some boxes of documents on the shelves that are past the retention period and could be disposed of. Mr. Riley suggested applying for a records management grant to do an inventory. Those grants are usually submitted later this year. And then I have also been working with James Thompson, our website designer, with John Midwood and Lorna Sherman to update the website. We're in the final phases of that and hope to give a brief presentation at next month's meeting on the updated website.
Any questions? Good. Next is an update on the comprehensive plan and the future schedule.
Hello. On June 27th, the committee turned over their draft, the June draft, of 2+ years' work to both the town and the village board. And that started a clock running. So you have 90 days from the 27th of June to hold a meeting. It can be a joint meeting. But both the village and the town need to put separate legal notices in the paper and on their respective websites. After the public hearing, you make any changes that you deem necessary. And then it goes, the draft, as corrected if needed, goes to the county planning board. Then they have 30 days, you can see how this keeps going, to respond with comments, and if they don't, it's as if they didn't have any comments. And then you proceed with the seeker process, which again can be done jointly. And then you go through, I did seekers, assuming a negative declaration, then you put together a resolution, and hopefully, separately again, the town and the village will adopt the plan as finalized. What I forwarded were PDFs because the documents are getting so large that they get unwieldy. Nan Stolzenberg, our consultant, has the Word documents if there are changes to be made. And I will certainly happily work with her, or if you've got somebody who can keep this file together to make your changes. And I'm hoping that this can happen in 2019.
Right now, I'm waiting until Debbie is away on vacation.
I know.
She'll be back next Thursday.
Yes.
And I will call her on Thursday, and we will try to set up a date that will meet both boards' approvals. And we will try to get this done as quickly as possible. I'd just like to say, when we started out on this project, my intention was basically that I thought that we had a fairly good comprehensive plan that was instituted in 1996. And that we were looking to update that. It turned out that this plan went so far beyond that. It's mind-boggling that this was able to be done in a 2-year period. I credit the committee with, it's just amazing how they work together.
It was a wonderful.
How they were able to pull all sections together. I attended almost every meeting. The work ethic that was displayed was exceptional. And I want to commend you very highly for the way that you led the group, kept them on point.
Yeah, that's the key.
Moved them along. There was no delay in anything. Any materials that were needed were there so that everyone was aware of what was going on in each meeting. And I appreciate it very much.
Thank you very much.
I want to echo and say that it was a pleasure serving on the committee with you, Edie, and you did an excellent job as chair.
Thank you
for
very
all the work
much.
you put into
And
it.
Lisa was a great help because she and her deputy certainly helped with the great making the copies and all, which was a huge help. Thank you.
Next, Bob, we are requesting that a speed limit study be performed on Winchell Mountain Road. Currently, it's 55 miles an hour coming down through there, which seems to be excessive. Dan?
Do you want me to speak? I think most of you know me, Daniel Goldhagen. On 281 Winchell Mountain Road.
Right.
And the letter that you have is co-signed by Meg and Michael Winkler, who are on 338. I've been in residence for 24 years. I think the Winkler's been for 3 or 4 years. And they brought to my attention because they are on a very sharp corner. And we've had a significant increase in trucks, dairy trucks, freight trucks, I think with the advent of GPS, and I would say about a quarter to a third of the traffic is from Connecticut. So it's no longer a country road, and there's no speed signs from 22 to 199. It's completely, you know, and if people don't know it's 55, there's not even a 55-mile marker. So I think we've had some accidents there. There's April 2018, there was a car that went into an electrical pole, took down our electricity, and it's significant because, especially for the Winklers, they have to roll down their car door, the window, in order to hear the trucks coming down. So I think there's significant safety issues. So I think a safety speeding study is what we're requesting when we approach the county highway. They said that's the first process is getting our approval, which I would kindly request.
Just so that you understand, we don't have the ability to change any of the, the speeds on.
No, it's not for you.
However-
You're just it's the beginning of the process.
So that the study is done and completed, and they will, determine, what the appropriate speed is. on
Right,
that road.
because right now there's no markers
And
even.
there should be something on there, yes.
I mean, you go to Charlie Hill Road, there are around 3 or 4 speed signs. That's not as heavily trafficked as our road.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Well, I just want you to know, if they don't change it, it's not us to blame.
No, but it's worth
But
pursuing.
I think you have
it's worth.
certainly a legitimate.
I mean, it does get very icy and snowy, especially in the
Yes.
winter.
Yes.
Trucks don't know that road. They said they're
Absolutely.
told by GPS to come down that road.
Yes.
And, it's a safety hazard. I would say October 2018, there was a driving rainstorm. A truck got stuck in one of the curves. The police was out the truck was there for about 4 hours.
Yeah. Well, we have had on a couple of different occasions in the past where people have tried to go up Irondale Road and make the turn onto Winter Mountain Road and bottom out.
Yeah.
And that has tied up traffic there on several occasions. So.
Yeah, so anyway, it's worth, I think it's something to be looked at. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. I'd like to appoint.
Well, I need a motion for us to be able to send that to the Dutchess County Department of Public
Thank you
Works.
for keeping me on point. Can I have a motion to request that that study be done?
So moved. John, go ahead.
So moved.
Made by John Midwood, seconded by Chris Kennan. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next is the appointment of Julie Fink to the clerk position to assist with records management. Can I have a motion to make that appointment?
So moved.
Made by John Merwin, seconded by
Second.
Ralph Fidelli. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next is the authorization for the supervisor to sign a new 5-year contract with UniFirst. They're the ones who supply the mats out front here, in the bathrooms, the rolls of paper in there, the soap dispensers, all of that, things that are required here for the smooth running of the town hall. Can I have a motion to sign that contract?
What type of increase did they offer?
Actually, the next year, the prices stay the same as what they are right now. In the future, the annual increase will be about 5% or CPI, whichever is greater.
It's high.
We've already had them for 5 years too.
5% compounded.
So Ralph, we'll put your picture on.
That's a big number.
Well, I'm not so sure that there are that many other companies out there that, really are involved in this. Can I have a motion to sign that contract?
So moved.
Made by John Merwin, seconded by Chris Kennan. All in favor?
Aye.
Next is supervisor's report. We have no budget adjustments this month. Thank you. I have a special abstract dated June 25th, 2019, totaling $627.59, broken down as follows. A fund, $439.92. T&A, payroll T&A, $187.67. Motion to accept the special abstract.
So moved.
Made by Ralph Fidelli, seconded by
Second.
John Midwood. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next, we have an abstract dated July 11th, 2019, totaling $84,395.84, broken down as follows. A fund, $48,448.85. B fund, $2,804.73. DB fund, $17,174.26. Capital projects, H1, $14,677. T&A 2 escrow, $1,295. Can I have a motion to accept the abstract?
So moved.
Made by Chris Kennan, seconded by Ralph Fidelli. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The voucher committee for August will be Chris Kennan and John Midwood. Next, we have 2 sets of minutes for approval. The first being for May 9th, 2019. Do we have any additions, changes to those minutes?
I gave Lisa a couple minor
Okay. Good.
radical things.
Okay. Can I have a motion with those corrections to approve the minutes for May 9th?
So moved.
Made by Ralph Fidelli, seconded by John Merwin. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next are the minutes for June 13th, 2019. Are there any additions, corrections to those minutes? I've got a couple of minor ones in there. I just marked them on there. With those corrections, can I have a motion to approve the minutes for June 9th?
So moved.
Made by John Midwood, seconded by
Second.
Ralph Fidelli. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have no legal matters this evening. Do we have any comments from the audience? Yes.
Surprise, right?
What? This is the last time. You picked up your meeting.
I promise I'll try and be quick. I'm sorry. I actually just wanted to provide an update to the town board and to the public as far as the Mill Road culvert project.
Yes.
So I've been in contact with Colarusso, the contractor on the project. They're working locally on the rail trail. They would actually like to mobilize next week and begin work on that project because the weather has been very favorable, the water level has dropped and so forth. So they feel that they'll probably be moving some of their crew from the trail project as well as some equipment to that project. So that's the good news. The bad news is I'm running into a bit of an issue with our biologist because he has prior commitments. So I'm in discussion right now with the biologist that is currently working on the trail project. A different firm, a different biologist, but again, since he's in the area, I'm hoping that it would be relatively easy for him to come over and work on the Mill Road project as well, because he doesn't need to be there all day. So I've been in contact, it's a biologist from the Chazen Companies. Again, they're currently under contract to work on the rail project. I'm trying to get pricing from them to hopefully see that it's somewhat compatible, or comparable, I should say, to Norbert's figures that were provided to the town. And if they are, I'm hoping that I may be able to get together with the supervisor to get that authorization to move forward so that work can begin. Again, I was just notified yesterday, and I immediately started getting on the phone with Norbert, the biologist, and so forth. So I understand it's a short time frame, but I also don't want to lose the window.
No.
So if at all possible, if the town board would allow that to take place, where again, if they're in the general range of the other figures, that you would authorize the town supervisor to enter into contract with them to get that work done.
Is this for the bog turtle?
Yes, this is for the bog turtles that aren't there, yes.
Right.
Unfortunately, correct.
And the first biologist has been trying to get DEC to relent on
On the requirements.
on that requirement.
Yeah, and they have not let go,
They haven't budged at all.
unfortunately.
They won't budge at all.
So you need a motion?
So can I have a motion to allow me to make arrangements on that?
So moved.
Made by John Merlin, seconded by
Second.
Ralph Fidelli, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do we have an update on the ADA? Do we have an update on the ADA?
Sure. Now, I wasn't gonna bring that up, but again, we could have adjourned, but since you bring it up. Yeah, so actually, I have met with the village. Originally, the village was looking for perhaps a much larger project. After going through their budgeting process for the upcoming year, they realized that they had quite a few additional capital projects that they had to commit to. So unfortunately, they are now going back to
The original.
not necessarily the exact original, but more in line of the original proposal. So we're in the process of doing that design work now. So
What time frame are we looking at?
yeah, so I was going to indicate that we're working on both, again, the village hall as well as the town hall
Yes.
collectively. So we anticipate that we'll have our design documents done mid of August as far as that goes, and we would hope to then get them submitted to the county for approval, and then upon their review, then move forward as far as bidding process. But at least we have a direction. I mean,
That project also has to be done by the end of this year, does it not?
No, that one does not need to be done by the end of this year.
Okay.
No. It's, I think
The
it's
funding goes beyond that?
correct.
Okay.
That's my recollection, that actually goes into next year.
Okay.
But I will reach out to Miss Murray and
Yes.
Audra Murray, and I'll have a discussion with her confirming that. And I'll let the town as well as the village know.
Okay. Anything else need to be brought up? If not, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Made by John Midwood, seconded by,
I'll second. Nobody wants to adjourn.
we can continue if you will. All in favor?
Aye.